Hi guys, this is a new What If, and you read the title, you see the thumbnail. What if Deku had the Devil's Footprint, aka Shinra's powers? Now I will be changing Deku's hair. Deku's hair looks like Shinra, Deku's hair is still green, but it just looks like Shinra, so it's not up and messy. It's like Shinra's. That's the only thing that'll be changed. Okay, that's the only thing that'll be changed. Now, this starts off in their school as everybody's getting. Oh my god. Does it look like Shinra? Oh my god. Look at Shinra's pants. Does it look like he has a boner? Why does it look like that? Anyway, this starts in the anime as everybody starts to get their quirks. Midoriya tells his mom that he's not getting a quirk as they go to the quirk doctor, and the doctor explains how his quirk is he has two quirks. One quirk called Dola Burst and another quirk called the Devil's Footprint. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know what an Adola Burst does. They've said Shinra has an Adola Burst, but I don't know what it does. They haven't really explained what it does. But I don't know, so we're just gonna keep it like it's a mysterious quirk. And then, they go to class. Midori goes to school the next day and tells everybody what his quirk is. And somehow he can now activate it. Now, I did take... Okay, so now Midoriya has a quirk. I'm completely copying somebody else's what if, but I don't care. Midoriya has a quirk now, as he starts to show it off. And, Bakugo starts to respect him because his quirk is actually that cool. So they spar, they can become rivals really early. And, they train together. They fight a lot until the present day. Now, this is the day that the sludge villain happened. Now, Bakugo, having respect for Midoriya, doesn't throw out his notebook or explode it. But they decide to take the shortcut. As then the sludge villain comes, as Bakugo and Midoriya's quirks are stronger, but Midoriya burning the sludge villain, Bakugo also burning the sludge villain, and they beat the dog stuff out of him. All Might comes and watches for a good 3 minutes as he starts seeing the sludge villain look at All Might crying like, help me, please. Then All Might says, okay, that's enough. And then they're like, oh, it's All Might. And All Might collects the thing and says, what you guys did was brave. But it wasn't that smart. As then All Might gives them an autograph and goes. But on the way, the sludge villain drops. Now, they decide that, they got off of school early. So they should go to the arcade. As they're going to the arcade, and they see the sludge villain again. The sludge villain sort of knocks out Bakugo somehow, and Midoriya is left to fight the sludge villain alone. Midoriya flies on top of the sludge villain and he flies down and he starts he preparing a monstrous kick. And Midoriya goes inside the sludge villain and starts spinning around as he starts to burn the sludge villain and burn him and burn him and burning. And then the sludge villain is burned as then Midoriya gets back up and he goes behind the sludge villain and he tries to use his flames on the sludge villain, but out of nowhere there's an explosion that happens from his feet. He's like, that's new. And yes, quirks are physical abilities, so you know what happens in Fire Force when they use their generation powers too much. They overheat. And overheating can lead to burn. Now, sorry. Now, as Midoriya's walking home, he doesn't get stopped by All Might, because All Might's on a building somewhere, trying to recuperate, he gets stopped by Endeavor. This is where I stole the water from. As Endeavor tells Midoriya that he has a nice and powerful quirk, and that he should train with him, as Midoriya is excited because this is the number 2 hero Endeavor. He's hardcore. If he could train with him, this would be legendary, as Midoriya accepts. He goes home and tells his mom. And I'm just saying that I'm saying that his mom didn't die. More like he lives alone. Think about it like this. Midoriya's mom is home once a week. Midoriya's mom is home 1 week every month. She's home 1 week every month because she has a job overseas. She has a job in a different country called Hajima, where she has to monitor some stuff called Amaterasu. Yes, that's how I'm doing it. So, Endeavor says, "Where do you live?" And just in case for emergencies. Midoriya shows him to his house. I'm saying that they have a better house just cause. But Endeavor asks where his parents are, as his dad works overseas and his mom works in Hajima with Amaterasu, so she can only be home 1 week every month. As Endeavor says, "Okay, so you basically live alone." As Midoriya says, "Yes, I do." And never said, enough talking. Meet me Meet me here tomorrow morning and don't be late. As Shima says, "Sure, Endeavor." As Endeavor says, "No." He says, "No. If I'm going to be training you, you're going to call me sir. You call me sir." And he says, "Yes, sir." So Doria wakes up early in the morning, he eats his noodles fast because he eats fast. So, and he flies over to the Endeavor thing. And he goes to the Endeavor, agency. No. Wait, I'm thinking about what I should do. I'm just wondering something. How close does Midoriya live to UA? And where's the I'm saying that Midoriya Bakugo live in the same place where Endeavor lives, okay? Like they live in the same place. Oh yeah, Bakugo, I guess he got one for all. And Midoriya has an Adola burst, yeah. And I'm gonna say, I don't know, I guess that helps him and improves him. It's like an upgrade. I don't know what it is. But yeah, so Bakugo's training with All Might, as Midoriya's training with Endeavor. As Endeavor goes, they meet in Endeavor's agency where he has like a private room, sort of like the White House. They have multiple rooms there, like a bowling alley, arcade, movie theater. They meet inside, like, his training room as they start to train. Endeavor tells Midoriya to come at him. As Midoriya comes at him, and throws a punch, with Endeavor easily dodging. And then, from that punch, he puts both his hands on the ground as he tries to kick Endeavor, and Endeavor catches the kick. As Midoriya starts to let off his quirk, the heat from his quirk. As the fire starts to go through Endeavor's hand and at his face, as Endeavor lets go, saying, that barely hurt me. Is that all the firepower you have? As he says, "No, no, sir." As he says, good, call me sir, and good, that's not all. Use all you got as Midoriya rushes at Endeavor, letting off fire with Endeavor dodging, with Endeavor then trying to shoot Midoriya, but Midoriya takes it. And then Endeavor shoots another ray at Midoriya, with Midoriya also, sending it back with his fire. And then Midoriya, Midoriya says, well, Endeavor says, I'm too strong for you. Do you really think you can beat me? As then Midoriya gets on his head and starts spinning and makes like a smoke screen. They say smoke screen, huh? As then Endeavor uses his fire to kind of maneuver everything around. And then Midoriya does he calls it an atomic fire, an atomic fire drop, where it's think about that thing he did with I would against Ruka, no, not Ruka, Ryza, where he had one foot ahead above his head and he was letting off fire as he was dropping. And he does this as it lands on Endeavor's chest, and all Endeavor sees is this devilish face with claws in the background made out of fire. And he looks at Midoriya's foot and sees that Midoriya's foot is glowing orange, and then it even turns blue to some extent. And then, there's a giant explosion. As Midoriya says, this explosion again? What is this thing? And then Endeavor says, okay, I see what you got. I was only using about 25% of my power, but you'll work. Yes, Endeavor. And then Endeavor looks at Midoriya seriously and he says, yes, sir. Sorry, it won't happen again, sir. For the next 10 months, they train. And I'm gonna do that. Midoriya has a new move called Fire Tornado, where he basically spins. Wait. He basically spins around, and really fast. He created two new moves. He calls one move is called Fire Claw, or he can form a claw of fire and kick somebody, sort of like a roundhouse, or no, just a straight kick, like a kick, and it'd be like they got scratched by a claw. And he has another move. Uh, hmm, 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 whew, whew. I'm just trying to think of something. He has another move called Fire Tornado, where he basically starts to spin himself and his entire body. He can do one on the ground where he puts his head on the ground and starts spinning, and it doesn't hurt his head or affect him, and he starts spinning and it makes a fire tornado. Or one when he's up in the air and when he's coming down, he uses his quirk and he doesn't make fire tornado. He makes the fire drill, where he gets up in the air and he starts spinning and spinning and spinning, and his quirk covers him like a drill of fire. And Endeavor's nickname for Midoriya is Devil, because his footprints, and sometimes when Midoriya uses his quirk a lot, it looks like he's a devil. Now, let's go. Now, let's cover something with Todoroki. Todoroki learned that Endeavor had someone he was secretly training. Let's say Todoroki's sister. Let's say Todoroki was walking by one day, and Todoroki's sister asks Endeavor, hey, how come you barely come home? As he told her that he's training somebody with high potential. They might even become the #1 hero. He's Todoroki's like, who's this person he's training? Anyway, I'm making it that Midoriya and Bakugo will both take the recommendation exam. As you know, I'm saying that Midoriya doesn't know about One for All. Okay, but Midoriya and Bakugo will both take the recommendation exam. Now, they both pull up to the recommendation exam, you know. Would Todoroki even be in the recommendation exam? He probably got a recommendation. They will pull up to the recommendation exam, you know, and they're like cool, and then like everybody's talking about like, ooh, that kid. Did you hear? Apparently, no one knows who they got a recommendation from. They say, did you hear? There's somebody in this room who got a recommendation from All Might. And there's two people who got a recommendation from Endeavor. As you know, Todoroki's there, and he's just angrily. Midori knows about Todoroki. I can never explain the whole situation. And Todoroki, I mean, like the whole situation. Okay, like Midoriya told him some advice. Maybe he was being too harsh, maybe too abusive. And he knows about Todoroki not wanting to use his fire. And he doesn't feel weird around Todoroki. Anyway, so I'm putting Midoriya in the same race with Todoroki and Yarashi. But because you can replace people. It's not like we know who those other guys were. As you know, him and Yarashi, they're kind of cool. They're hitting it off. They could be friends. And then Midoriya realizes who Todoroki is. Decides to stay. Now, Midoriya's like tracksuit is damn it, what's wrong with my screen? Midoriya's tracksuit or his suit is like this. This is his suit. His favorite number is 8. And he wears this exact thing. Funny because my favorite number is 8, actually. As Midoriya starts going off. And he's at the same speed where Yarashi and Todoroki. As Midoriya goes quicker and quicker and quicker. And says, I have to go faster. As all the training I did with Endeavor has to pull off. As Midoriya gets second place. Because Yarashi, had that wind boost. And then Todoroki third place. As everything happens the same. Oh, him and Bakugo both got in, so I guess 5 people got in based off of recommendation. It's weird. I used to think Mineta got in based off of recommendation. It's because I never knew how he got in. It's like, how did Mineta even pass the entrance exam? Oh yeah, he saw Momo there, I mean, Bakugo hasn't told Midoriya about All Might ever. But Midoriya didn't notice that Bakugo's explosions were a little stronger, though. He stopped using his... Now, Bakugo got... After a few months ago, Bakugo stopped using his explosions around school, And when he did, they were a little powerful. But he didn't know they were that powerful. The Adola Burst is sort of like It's sort of like a one-for-all, if you want to know. Anyway... Midoriya gets a letter saying he got into UA. And he'll be in class 1A. And then he calls Endeavor. And Endeavor says, what did I tell you about calling me? And then he says, sorry. But sorry, sir. And then he says, I got into UA. And Endeavor says, of course you would. And then Endeavor says, you see my son? As Midoriya says, yes, I did. Oh yeah, I beat him in a race. Well, I got second place, but he got third. Then, I guess the next day they get called in, and Bakugo and Midoriya get called into school, as they say that they both got in, and that, yay, Bakugo and Midoriya fist bump, I guess. They respect each other, friends. And, they go until they meet again in UA. They go into UA as they sit down. And you know, they sit down and, they just, everything happens the same. Midoriya walks in, then Uraraka, he just sits, he sees Bakugo and Ida arguing, but he doesn't care. He just sits down. Uraraka walks in. If you're wondering, some random people who didn't get into UA saved Uraraka. If you're wondering, that's what happened. Random people saved Uraraka and they didn't get in, if you're wondering. After a few minutes, Mr. Aizawa gets up and says what he says normally in canon. As they do go outside and they change, and Midoriya's built like he's Season 2 Todoroki built, because he was already built. And Cartron, he's a little way more built. And Midoriya says, whoa, what kind of training did you do over the 10 months? Bakugo says it's a secret. And Midoriya says, okay. Then they go outside. As who would have gotten first place then? If Midoriya and Bakugo didn't go? If we're saying highest points out of the entire class, no, Bakugo still throws, as he got the highest points for the recommendation exam. He got, like first place in the recommendation exam, in the writing and physical, like comparing that, mixing the right. I just have to do something. As Bakugo throws the ball, Bakugo mastered about, let's say Bakugo at this point mastered about 5% of full cowling. As he throws the ball 750 meters instead of 706 meters. As everybody congratulates Bakugo, and they have to use their quirks. Midoriya, he throws the ball in the air and he does like a front flip, or like, yeah, I guess he does a front flip or back flip and uses his quirk to repel the ball even further as he gets about 500 meters. For the race, Midoriya gets third place. Bakugo got first. For the jump, Midoriya gets first place. And for everything else, Midoriya gets average, getting about fifth place. His Adola Burst wasn't in. I still don't even know what Adola Burst is. By the next part, I should know what it is. I just know Shinra has an Adola Burst. Anyway, let's go. And I'm wondering, can Inca make... I feel like Inca could make Infernos. I don't know why, I just feel like she could. Anyway, what was the main moves I had him create? Oh yeah. Anyway, after that, Midoriya decides to go home. Just for story purposes, I'm gonna make it that he was like him, Ida, and Uraraka got along well, so they become friends. Anyway, they ask him what his quirk is, as he explains that his quirk is he explains that the name of his quirk is he has two quirks, Devil's Footprint and Adola Burst. As they say, that's kind of cool. As they say, wait, Devil's Footprint? Shinra activates his quirk and walks, as there's a footprint in the shape of a devil. And they say, oh, that's kind of cool and scary at the same time. Anyway, they go home the next day. You know what? Let me just pause and see what an Adola Burst really is. Okay, apparently an Adola Burst is basically a pure flame. It's like the original flame ever. Like, it's untainted. He has a pure flame. So I guess that's why he could hurt, and that's why Midoriya could hurt Endeavor, even though Endeavor is immune to most fires. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do with it. This man Shinra still has a boner. Anyway, let's go. The next day they learn that they will be doing, heroes versus villains. As Midoriya's hero costume is this. Midoriya has this hero costume. I'm keeping it the same. Here it is. Better way. This is Midoriya's hero costume. Don't ask me why, but I'm keeping it the same. It just looks really cool. Should I put like a fire extinguisher on his back? No, but Midoriya has this hero costume, okay? This is hero costume. He puts it on and goes outside. Uraka says that that's a cool hero costume. And that they'll be... Anyway, All Might explains what they'll be doing. As they'll be doing heroes versus villains. No. They choose teams and they get the right amount of... They get the right teams. Now, thanks to the training with All Might, Bakugo is less... Thanks to training with All Might and, years of not, bullying Deku... Since he hasn't bullied Deku, I'd imagine that Bakugo's a little nicer. And what training with All Might taught him he shouldn't always be vicious. So, Bakugo's nicer. Now, as they go inside and Bakugo rushes them as usual. As Bakugo's explosions hit Midoriya, sending him back into a wall. But Midoriya gets up and pats his suit, due to his suit being fireproof. Then, his suit's being fireproof. Now, then Midoriya gets up and kicks Bakugo like he uses his quirk and kicks Bakugo. Anyway, Midoriya tells Uraraka to go find the bomb. As Uraraka goes find the bomb, as Midoriya starts running, and Bakugo says, I can see your devilish footprints, right? As he starts to chase Midoriya. And he lets off a giant explosion, not from his gauntlet, but, he lets off a giant explosion mixing some One For All, using about 100% One For All, which really sends Midoriya flying, and it doesn't burn his costume, but he's hurt. As, Bakugo says, Bakugo, you can't do that. Do that again and you'll be expelled. All Might's just thinking, he's gone a long way, but he's still vicious. Anyway, Bakugo then goes to shoot a smoke screen at Midoriya, and Midoriya just jumping over this as he kicks Bakugo in the back of the head. Then Bakugo turns around to be met with some fire by Midoriya. And then Bakugo throws an explosion at Midoriya while Midoriya kicks Bakugo's hand. And there's 2 explosions, as Midoriya says, I really need to talk to Endeavor about that. And then Midoriya tries to punch Bakugo, but Bakugo dodges. As Bakugo gets One For All and this green energy starts to come around him. Midoriya says, that's new. Well, technically he saw it already, but still. As then Midoriya does his move like the Devil's Claw. As he kicks Bakugo's hand, Bakugo lets off an explosion, and they both go flying. And then they lose, and they lose. They both get knocked out because of this attack. And due to Uraraka not being able to touch the bomb, mostly because Ida kept on moving it around, they lose based off of time limit. And Todoroki's just noticing more about Midoriya. And then, then after class, Midoriya's just asking, Midoriya asks Bakugo where he learned that, because he was never like that before. And Bakugo says, I trained with somebody special. Maybe I'll tell you later, but where'd you learn your abilities? As Midori says, I trained with, someone special too. You know? I trained with someone special too. You know? Anyway, they're walking home, and then Bucko says, okay, spill it. Okay, I might be able to tell you if you tell me who you trained with. As they're walking home, and Midori says, okay, I trained with Endeavor. And Todoroki's like probably the only one who hears this. No, wait, no. He says I trained with Endeavor, and everybody hears this and say, whoa, trained with Endeavor? Some people look at Todoroki because Endeavor's Todoroki's father. But Midori doesn't look at Todoroki because, again, he doesn't feel awkward. He just doesn't want to look at him. And, he says, yeah, I've been training with him for 10 months now. And then they say, oh, that is kind of cool, And then they go home. With them going home, Todoroki actually speaks to Midoriya in private. As this is where I'll be leaving it off.